Back again with another video, y'all. And today we're taking out volume 3 of top 10 most underappreciated anime. This is VNewTube again, bringing us some bangers, man. Some bangers. And yeah, I don't think there's much to go about. Let me see if I know any of these. Because last one I knew more. Volume 1, I had no idea what any of these were. Volume 3, hopefully I can figure out some of them. Hopefully. Yeah, GBTV again. Hey man, like this video, share this video. Put in the comments what other compilations lists you want me to check out, man. Without further ado, let's get on with the reaction. Let's go. Oh, Drifters. I know one.
Seeing as you seem to enjoy.
Hey yo, when the hell is season 2 coming out for this? Season 1 came out like 4 years ago.
My recommendations that you might have missed out on. Yes, that's right. It's time for volume 3 of Underappreciated Anime. Whether it be due to the strength of the season or just the genre being niche, some anime inevitably get overshadowed. That's what this channel is here for. And today, I'll be helping you go through another 10 titles that you might have just overlooked a bit when they came out. So buckle up, and here we go with another 10 titles that, in my opinion, need just a little bit more love.
Yo, we're waiting for season 2, bro.
Drifters comes in at number 10, giving us a glimpse of a story with historical context. Historical figures yanked from their own timelines are brought into a dimension where they wage war against one another. Doesn't that sound like fate? So yeah, these heroes called Drifters, comprised of some familiar figures like Oda Nobunaga and Shimazu, are protagonists. They take the battle against Ends, another group of historical figures, strangely enough including some historically good people like the Japanese favourite Jeanne d'Arc. It's time for a gritty, edgy battle royal like you've never seen before. Fans would probably recognise Kota Hirano of Hellsing fame, and you can clearly see the influence in the presentation of this anime. It's edgy, it's dark, and it has that cool, stylish flair that we've come to know from the story of Alucard and his allies. If you're up for some edgy historical fights, make sure to give this 2016 show a spin.
Wait, sauce? That.
Next we have Vicross. I think that a lot of us have grown up around card game anime. For those on the wrong side of the 20s like I am, you might have remembered your elementary years with Yu-Gi-Oh! On the other hand, the younger ones might associate card game anime with Bushiroad hit Card Fight Vanguard. However, in the midst of those titles in the genre that doubles as lengthy commercials for toys is Vicross. I'd like to talk about the series as a whole instead of just Selector-infected Vicross, the first season, because the premise more or less remains similar for each season. Young girls playing a card game where winning allows them to have a wish granted. However, a dark twist awaits at the end of each road to glory. Not only do the characters have their wishes overturned and reversed if they lose often enough, an even darker fate lies at the end of their journey. If it reminds you of something, congratulations. I've just introduced you to Madoka with trading cards. The tone and the overall feel of the anime varies between seasons, but they all follow one generally streamlined narrative. I also like how each series follows a new protagonist who still gets to interact with familiar faces from the previous seasons, giving the whole thing a sense of continuity. Licensing and possibly trust issues between companies mean that the actual card game would likely never see an English release, which off the bat hurts the popularity of the series. Nonetheless, I think that the series is worth a look, and I found myself really enjoying how the story developed through its 4 connected seasons. Moving on past the darkness of girls doing things for the sake of wishes, how about a literature-inspired romantic comedy? Boarding School Juliet is at number 8. We've had countless literary-inspired titles over the course of anime history, but this is one title that caught my eye in particular towards the end of 2018. Set in a more modern world, Boarding School Juliet takes a more relatable approach in telling the story of Romeo and Juliet's forbidden love. This time, the setting takes place in Dahlia Academy, the melting pot for 2 countries embroiled in a bitter feud. The Black Doggies and the White Cats have themselves a long-standing feud, led by their leaders Romeo Inuzuka and Juliet Persha. The thing is, the 2 leaders are actually really in love with each other. With the feud between the houses at an all-time high, the couple just has to come to terms with the fact that they might be forced to keep their relationship a secret forever. With prying eyes from friends and rivals alike, how much longer can they keep this act up? I got drawn into the series due to the cute character designs and the premise that somehow reminded me of Nisekoi at first, and I'd say that the series needs a lot more love than it actually got. The scenarios were fun and enjoyable, and I like the development of the side characters in particular. The author's done a really great job of creating some lovable characters and a lot of funny incidents to put them in, making this a really fun watch if you're looking to unwind with some rom-coms. Airing in a season with waifu wars generator Nisekoi, supernatural fantasy Noragami, ever-beloved space dandy, and meme material pupa, there's a cute little show about teenage drama with a dash of Japanese spiritualism. Yes, I'm not surprised that Inari Konkon was one of the underrated shows in that particular season. Given the strength of the season, I believe that this title is actually at its proper place in that season's popularity charts. However, that doesn't change the fact that I think this is one heartwarming series that more people should watch and appreciate. The story premise is simple enough. Middle school girl finds herself hopelessly in love, cries about her inability to confess at a shrine, and the shrine's goddess grants her the power to transform. Well, turns out being in love isn't as easy as being able to pretend to be someone else in order to make your confession, especially if you've gotten yourself involved in the affairs of gods and spirits in the process. Inari Konkon offers what a standard anime of this genre typically gives: cute, heartwarming moments, some magic sprinkled in, and a fun and adorable cast of characters. Despite its shorter than usual 10-episode run, the show manages to hit its mark. Personally, I prefer the more actiony genres, but even I was charmed by this show, and I think that you should give it a shot too. You know, with the wake of the Attack on Titan phenomenon in 2013, those who prepare anime can't help but greenlight those dystopian humanity versus monster shows in order to ride the wave. So we got stuff like Seraph of the End, or Garbaneri of the Iron Fortress, or Black Bullet. Among these, I think that the one that went under the radar the most was God Eater. Now, I honestly think this show needed more love. Sure, it's nowhere near the masterpiece that it was trying to ride the momentum from, but so are the other three shows that I mentioned. I think that as a game adaptation, God Eater is fine. It goes with the tried and true story of humanity fighting for survival against monsters with their special equipment meant to combat those threats. The CG art might be the breaking point for a lot of fans during its time, but I never felt that the art completely hampered my enjoyment of seeing amazing intense fights in the series. It's an acquired taste, but after having seen stuff like Arjun and Knights of Sidonia...
Yeah, like, the CGI on this doesn't look bad. It looks way top notch. Like, if you look at, like, Berserk, Arjun, Inuyashiki, this looks better than all of them.
Yeah, I think that I stopped letting art affect my enjoyment, unless, of course, it's something as horrible as Ari Fureta's Monsters. Now that was something else. I can see that God Eater started off pretty dull, but after a few episodes, I found myself enthralled with the characters' fight for survival. If you're up for some popcorn anime before the next season of Attack on Titan, you should definitely go for this show. Remember the good old days when we got a lot of visual novel adaptations? The genre slowed down drastically this past decade, but every once in a while, we still get some surprisingly great ones. One such title is 2016's Ao Nakanata no 4 Rhythm, shortened as Aokana. Set in a futuristic world where man has finally conquered the skies, people go around flying in grav shoes, footwear that allow people to defy gravity and fly. So people came up with Flying Circus, a sport that fully utilizes such wonders of technology. In simple terms, Aokana is a sports anime centered on bright and optimistic Asuka Gorashina and her friends at the FC club at school. It's more or less your standard sports title, so you kind of know what to expect. In addition to the character designs that drew me into the series at first, what I found in Aokana is a surprisingly deep story for my expectations that let me empathize with the characters and the challenges they face. Aokana really does a good job at showing the journey from newbie into someone becoming good at the sport, as well as some moments that showcase the satisfaction of winning and the heartbreaks in defeat. Whatever your say is on this,
it looks more like a slice of life romance that has sports added to it, because all I see is like one guy and like 3 girls. Yeah,
I believe that Aokana is one of the underrated gems from the past few years.
走るの好きか？走るの好きか？
Imagine some weird ass dude came up to you like, "You like running? Do you like running?"
Our fourth spot is what I think is an even better sports anime. This time it's a manga adaptation that debuted just recently in late 2018. Run with the Wind tells the story of Kageru, who starts this tale on quite the wrong side of the law. Narrowly evading consequence for shoplifting, he runs into Haji, who invites him to live with him in a rundown apartment. Given that Kageru isn't in the best place financially, he accepts the invitation and finds himself at the headquarters of the Kansei University track club. It's there that Haji reveals his goal. He wants to win it all at the biggest university marathon relay race in Japan. Problem is, the rest of the dormmates are novice runners, and they're not even interested. Somehow, the premise might remind you of Our Hero no Sora, another sports anime that I think needs a bit more love too when I first took a look at it. A lot of people have praised Run with the Wind, but I just think that the genre is not doing so hot right now in terms of popularity, except for maybe Haikyuu. It doesn't help that it came out alongside headline grabber Goblin Slayer, Bunny Girl Senpai, Zombieland Saga, and the new seasons of SAO as well as Index. I personally give the recommendation to watch Run with the Wind, one of the most underrated shows of that particular season.
I gotta check it out now.
私が嫌い。
When Barney was there.
In our third place is a movie. When Marnie Was There takes the third spot, being the only anime film on this edition of this list. Anime films have been gaining ground the past couple of years, in no large part thanks to the masterpieces of filmmakers like Shinkai, as well as the sudden urge in releasing said films outside of Japan. However, lost in the shuffle of the flood of emotional and artistic anime films is the dramatic tale based on the classic children's novel. When Marnie Was There basically tells the story of our protagonist Anna, whose health conditions forced her into living in Sapporo. There she finds an abandoned mansion and starts her series of encounters with the girl that she sees in her dreams. As the story goes on, the mystery surrounding the girl from Anna's dreams and her relation to the rest of Anna's family begins to unravel in a roller coaster of emotions. Given the pedigree of Ghibli in the anime movie market, I'm not surprised that When Marnie Was There ended up being underappreciated. It didn't live up to films like Spirited Away or Totoro when it comes to capturing the hearts of many, but I still think that you should really give this film a shot. The classic Ghibli film traits of amazing artwork and fantastic storytelling are there, and I think that this is one of the films that really made me emotional in the way it delivered its drama. It also has a lot of themes that can hit close to home, especially for those having troubles with family, acceptance, and abandonment. It's a tearjerker film that really deserves a bit more popularity than what it currently has.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Mononoke is the adaptation of a Japanese horror anthology centered on the medicine seller and his journey across Japan, defeating evil spirits along the way. Mononoke, for me, gives itself a unique edge over the other evil spirit slaying shows by not just being about superpowers and exciting action. For the medicine seller to defeat an evil spirit, he has to get to know it first. This includes getting information such as its form, origin, and motive. This opens up a lot of possibilities, as some of the spirits tend to be quite the troublesome ones to analyze. I think that there are people who would love this style in comparison to the more action-packed style of shows in this genre like Bleach and Demon Slayer for just a slight change of pace. The show also sets itself apart from its contemporaries with its eye-catching art style. It might take a while to get used to scenes and character designs reminiscent of ancient Japanese art, but I think that the art style is exactly part of the show's charm. Mononoke is a surprisingly intricate and deep look at the supernatural genre, and I definitely consider it not only underappreciated, but one of the best horror anime out there. Period.
Period. Astra Lost in Space. This nigga actually lost in space.
Now, where do I start with Astra Lost in Space? I admit that it's a show that I didn't have the strong impression of at first, but the way the story developed just made me a believer. I'm sure that the same opinion is the general opinion of the anime community, and it's the biggest reason why, for me, the 3-episode rule isn't completely a good way of looking at things. 3 episodes just isn't enough for one to appreciate the amazing ride Astra Lost in Space ended up being. What started out being an okay premise of friends being lost in space ended being one of the best space dramas I've seen for such a long time. Astra Lost in Space really excels at showing the struggles in the fight to overcome outer space in order to battle their way back home. Ironic that I use the word battle, because the series doesn't really have a lot of that. Instead, the dialogue and the presentation do the heavy lifting in helping you empathize with the characters, who are really well developed, by the way. You don't see this much care put in making characters these days, and it truly makes Astra Lost in Space a standout in the saturation of characters in modern anime. The show can admit admittedly be a drag at first, which I think caused it to be underappreciated. Still, I really recommend this because it turned out to be one of the best surprises in the season. I go with the consensus of this show being one that eventually grew out to be among the top shows in the whole of 2019. How's that for the third volume of our underrated anime? If you've seen these shows, make sure to let your friends in the comments section know. Do you think that they deserve more popularity than what they have? Why or why not? Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video.
Alright, so that's volume 3 of top 10 underappreciated anime from VNTube. Damn, I only recognized 2. Oh man, I only recognized 2 this time. The rest, I mean, a lot of them did look really interesting, especially that Mononoke thing. That looked creepy. God Eater looked really good too. Yeah, those look good. But I'm still waiting for Drifters season 2. Still waiting. Don't know if that's ever gonna happen. But yeah, I'm still waiting on that. Alright, but yeah, that was the video. Thanks for watching, y'all. This is GBTV signing out. Without further ado, peace out, baby.